faking it until they make it. Cases of stolen valor. Stolen valor is the act of impersonating military personnel or exaggerating deeds undertaken in service of the U.S. military. Military personnel exemplify bravery and sacrifice, standing as the epitome of courage, whereas those who commit acts of stolen valor are usually selfish and self-serving, looking to enjoy the perks of the military without ever having been a member. Whether it's to board a plane early or get a good discount or even go so far as to claim VA benefits, the only thing these individuals are decorated with is their audacity. Maybe they're afraid the plane will take off without them, or maybe they're just trying to make a quick buck. Either way, they're the ballsiest impressionists out there, but definitely not in a good way. In the US, stolen valor became recognized officially as a crime in 2005 with the passing of the Stolen Valor Act. While existing federal laws already prohibited the unauthorized wearing, manufacture, or selling of military decorations and medals, this act aimed to broaden the scope of what constituted stolen valor. Post-2005, the criminal code included additional prohibitions such as the purchase, solicitation, mailing, shipping, importing, exporting, or use of false military decorations without legal authorization. Moreover, the act made it unlawful to falsely represent oneself as military personnel. Essentially, it was an effort to crack down on those who sought to deceive others by feigning military accolades and experiences. To further discourage these audacious imposters, the act outlined increased penalties for individuals who chose to don prestigious symbols of honor, such as the Distinguished Service Cross, Air Force Cross, Navy Cross, Silver Star, or Purple Heart without any legitimate entitlement. It was a clear message that impersonating heroes and stealing the recognition earned by genuine military personnel would not be taken lightly. In 2013, this was expanded upon further. This second act made impersonating military personnel or lying about service punishable by a fine or imprisonment of up to a year, if, along with the aforementioned medals, they also pretended to be a recipient of a combat infantryman's badge, combat action badge, combat medical badge, combat action ribbon, combat action medal, or any replacement or duplicate version.
Hey there! Today, we're going to find out just how easy things can be. I'm going to ask some people some super simple questions. Are you ready? Let's go. Hi, what's your name?
My name is John.
Ding, 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 correct. It's that easy, folks. All right, now let's move on to something a little easier. All right, guys, I've got a brain buster for you. What's 1 plus 1?
This is a trick question. It's 2, right?
Absolutely. 2 thumbs up for you. All right, this one may require a little bit more brain power. Quick question for you both. Can you name the first 3 letters of the alphabet?
A, B, C.
Oh, we've got geniuses here. A, B, C. You nailed it. But don't worry, we're not done yet. All right, kids, here's a real challenging one for you. What's larger, the largest or the smallest?
The largest, obviously.
You've got it. Bigger is better, except when it comes to problems. And speaking of problems, have you ever wondered how easy it is to handle an injury claim? You think that was easy? Well, submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, is even easier. You can do it without ever leaving your couch. Just 8 clicks or less on your phone, you can submit a claim and let them handle the rest. It's as easy as ordering takeout, but way more satisfying. If you're ever injured in an accident, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. You can submit a claim in 8 clicks or less without having to leave your couch. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/simplehistory or dial #law. That's #529 from your cell phone.
Stolen valor is not a uniquely American problem. However, it seems prolific enough in the United States in particular that the laws surrounding it are certainly more comprehensive than most other countries. As of 2016, in many countries, the worst punishment for stolen valor comes in the form of a fine, which can vary from $35 in Ireland to a whopping $16,000 in France for wearing military decoration without the right. Australia, Denmark, Canada, France, Germany, Hungary, Ireland, and Portugal also reserve the right to imprison fraudulent individuals for up to either 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. With these risks, as well as the disgust and social shunning from others when caught, it's baffling that these imposters think the rewards of stolen valor are worthwhile. But if you now find yourselves eyeing up passerbys and those in uniform wondering if they're really deserving of the stripes they wear, there are some obvious ways that these chumps display their fakery and fraudulence. Usually, it's by simple lack of knowledge, a person wearing the incorrect rank for their uniform, unable to produce a military ID, or claim to be a member of an elite squad so they can't talk about what they've done. Hint, if they're boasting about it, they're probably not actually a member. Despite the fact that stolen valor seems like an obviously bad thing to do, there are some American citizens who have incredibly argued that it's their right under the rules of freedom of speech. Some people will try anything to get away with poor behavior. But there is one man who went the extra mile. Javier Alvarez was an elected Californian official for the Three Valleys Water District Board. During a public meeting held in 2007, he stood up and proudly declared himself to be a retired, as of 2001, U.S. Marine who was wounded in combat and had received the Congressional Medal of Honor in 1987. In reality, however, not a single boastful word that left Alvarez's mouth was true. He had never been in the Marines, and in fact the closest he'd probably ever come to real military personnel were those he happened to meet in public, probably guiltily thanking them for their service as he did so. Not long after Alvarez's ill-advised public announcement, a recording of his claims was submitted to the FBI, who confirmed their fraudulence. He was soon tried under the 2005 Stolen Valor Act and pled guilty. He received 3 years probation and was ordered to pay a $5,000 fine. Incredibly, though, Alvarez decided being caught in a lie was his constitutional right, and so actually appealed the decision, claiming that the whole act actually violated the First Amendment and his right to freedom of speech. That should have been the end of it, with a scoff and a laugh about how some con men will do anything they can to weasel their way out of trouble. But unbelievably instead, a 3-judge panel actually agreed with Alvarez's appeal and overturned his conviction, claiming the Stolen Valor Act was actually unconstitutional. The government then appealed this decision, where one would assume the story must surely end. But instead, the Supreme Court of the United States heard the case and agreed with the 3-judge panel. Despite acknowledgement from Justice Anthony Kennedy that, quote, lying was his habit, he and 5 other members of the court ruled that the Stolen Valor Act actually conflicted with the First Amendment free speech protections. The case concluded in 2012, and the 2013 expansion of the Stolen Valor Act can be directly linked to the overturning of Alvarez's conviction, closing loopholes that had allowed him to lie about his service, instead making it a federal crime. But while Alvarez may have been a landmark example in the case of stolen valor, there are plenty of others lining up behind him to claim their own prestigious and totally fictitious service record. A man named Richard G. Strandloff went one step further than Alvarez, not only creating a false military record, but a whole persona aside. Rick Duncan, as he called himself, created a local veterans group, even having the gall to share his own experiences of being in service and present at 9/11 in Iraq and his alleged wounding in combat. Using his lies as a base to swindle his way into fortuitous company, he often appeared as a speaker for veterans alongside prominent politicians and other real veterans so as to advance his own fortunes. Perhaps even more so than Alvarez, Strandloff came across as unashamed of his actions, coming clean about his plethora of lies upon his arrest by the FBI in 2009. But taking a leaf out of the book of the ongoing case of Alvarez, Strandloff also claimed that the law violated his right to free speech. Apparently to some, the argument that you should be allowed to maliciously lie because freedom is the moral high ground. The story of Strandloff doesn't even stop there. 2 years later, in 2011, Rick Strandloff was uncovered again, this time masquerading as Rick Gold, a member of the Jewish community in Denver who had been integrating himself in order to levy opportunities and start his own business. These men are just 2 examples among thousands. There are many as malicious as Alvarez and Strandloff who use their deceit for significant personal gain, whereas others simply want to get some discount waffles. One such man even had the cheek to turn it around on the man calling him out, claiming he was embarrassing him, as if wearing stolen prestige shouldn't embarrass him all on its own. Since these earlier cases, social media has exploded in popularity, allowing these fake veterans to get called out and put on blast on various platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Frequently, videos can be found of these liars being exposed by actual veterans, pointing to their incorrect badges, uniforms, and adornment of haircuts and jewelry that would not be allowed by anyone in active service. So while many still remain unprosecuted, once something is on the internet, it's there forever, so they may not receive the legal comeuppance so many deserve, but instead, they forever live one Google search away from being exposed as the worst of liars.